Hey everyone, welcome to the Mindset Playground. And I'm your host, LouAnn Hunt. And I'm so excited that you're able to join me here today because I have a great interview with another author. And this person is completely different than any of the other authors that I have interviewed in the past, but she's a ton of fun. And we're going to get to know a little bit more about her. So her name is Kim, but her pen name is Natasha Brune. So, welcome to the Mindset Playground, Natasha. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm excited to get to know you and get to know a little bit more about you because you have written some really cool books. And let's get talking about that. So, your latest one, well, all of the books are basically, well, how about if I just let you talk about what books you do? How's that? And then
I
we'll go
write,
back.
sure, no problem. Thank you so much. Mahalo, as we say in Hawaii, for having me on this beautiful Thursday morning. It's morning still here. I know it's Eastern Standard for you. I've written 5 books total thus far, with a few that are in the hopper. So I have the adult Wise Marie collection, which is I don't know if you can see my t-shirt, but I have, I'll stand up a little. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love
So,
that. I
uh,
love that book
the
cover. It's beautiful.
It is, and it was done by Troy, my graphic designer from years past. And so I brought him back to redo the cover. And I know it's not the cover that people have seen online in interviews, but at the time it was an illustration challenge, and it just is what it is. Right? Authors have to fumble their way through and figure it out. And it was written in Hawaii as the second book. So it looks like volume 2, but it's another edition. And it is the winner of the LA Tribune critically acclaimed bestseller award last year it was this year we celebrated and went on a book tour. But that's when it was in March. We were in New York City and in LA. They did several cities and I tagged along, and I was on it because I was part of the authors who won. And so the Paradise Edition was recommended, not the name, but the idea. I can't take full credit for it. Phil Goldfine, one of my mentors in Hollywood. He's a film producer and not a director, but basically owns Media Bridge Productions and works closely with Paramount, Skydance, and Universal Studios.
Wow, that's great.
I know. I met him through the mindset community because Bob mentored him. And that's how he was able to get an Academy Award. And so he doesn't only have the Academy, he has all of them except for he's only missing the Grammy. So I hope that the Wise Marie audio becomes his Grammy, and then that gets made and that'll go along the line. So that's one of the goals, one of the big worthy ideals. But he said, when I went to Hollywood Manifest, which was a mentorship program by best-selling author Peggy McCall and Phil Goldfine, they invited us for a week, and there was a private group. Like, I think there was only four of us. Yeah, four of us on this one. And one was a repeat student, and they were all authors and we're very good friends. We still mastermind and do projects together. And it was there in the Paramount studio where I was pitching my idea to them about having it come to, cinema, TV streaming and whatnot. He said, "Why aren't you writing this book in your real name?" And then I said, "Because it's based on true crime, even though it's fictionalized. And I don't want to talk about people or have it be connected." And he said, "Who cares? Who's following you right now? It's been decades since you were involved in all of that. And aren't half the people dead in your story?" And I said, "True." And he was like, "I get the pen name thing and I like the mysteriousness of it, but why not expose the underbelly of Hawaii? What everyone thinks it's Mai Tais, grass skirts, hula, the beach." And I said, "Well, it is." And he said, "And surfing, but there's a horrific level of crime there, right?" And I was like, "Yep, it's kind of like Brazil." And I said, "The Visitors Bureau might not appreciate that." And he said, "Who cares? This is your life. This is your life story. Say it's from Kim Cano." So I did not do that. I kept it as Natasha Brune to keep it consistent and, with the continuity, so less confusion. And I wrote the first Paradise edition. So now I'm on volume 2. Paradise of Darkness. I won't get too much into that so that I can keep the interview,
The mystery.
right, and mysterious, of course. But it is true crime, but it's true. It's a it just to throw it out there, I had to list a trigger warning with the first publishing company I was working with. Now I published all my own books, but then she said, because there's such raw material in there, we even had to remove some stories because my assistant Kizzy felt that it would not be good to keep it in there, even as an image thing too. So we removed extracted some stories, and it's still very exciting and a page turner. And there will be 2 subsequent volumes to that series of that Wise Marie. And then I crossed genres and wrote about the same character, Wise Marie, before she became dark as a child in a vintage setting with adventures in different places that she traveled to before she got involved in all the darkness, and she had all these real friends and all those kinds of things. And so Wisconsin, Hawaii, I'm on book 4 on that because I wrote 3 children's books already, because Peggy McCall said in one of her, if you're brave enough, in one of her Zoom classes, cross genres, if you think you can get away with it. And I just,
Well, that's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to ask you, okay, so the whole book series is basically called The Wise Marie.
right.
So who is the Wise Marie? It's
Me.
you. That's wonderful. So let's go back now to before you started writing. Did you always want to be an author?
It does date back quite a bit. Now that I am one, I remember in school, because I had a hard time with math. I have ADHD, and even though my friend Phil says, you don't, it's a paradigm. There is, that multitasking person within me, as I like to call it. And so I had challenges with numbers and math. And so I liked writing. And my
That's
teacher
great.
noticed it. And I never failed any of the spelling bees all the way up until, yeah. I still amazed, I don't even know. And I think it was one teacher who taught me how to sound things out and break things up in syllables and really understand the vowels in the American language and understand how to, enunciate, pronounce. And I just gravitated towards that. And in college, as an adult, I hand wrote in a composition book. I think I threw it away. Maybe I did. I don't know. But I hand wrote in pencil. That was the assignment, a full book of my life. And I got to a point, and I don't know how I did it, but I wrote it when I was 31 in college.
Wow, that's amazing. So I want you to kind of walk me through what you're feeling while you're writing. Like what is it? What is your mindset while you're writing? Does it help?
Well, yes, because it started off as just a venting and a dump during COVID, the lockdown. So that's when I started the book in 2020, because I was exercising to death, walking for long hours. I'd be gone for like 5, 6 hours, and my family would call and like, are you okay? And, I had a fanny pack. I'd be like with water, all my snacks, be gone all day. And so after a while, you'll physically run yourself into the ground, and it's not a balance thing. So I needed something because my businesses were temporarily shut down. And so I hacked away upstairs during when I was on a quarantine, because everyone thought I might have had COVID. And I was here in Colorado in my master bedroom and wrote all the way until the 90s while I was planning my next venture, where I would be gone, not knowing, for almost 2 years off and on, but for a year straight, gone in Hawaii because of the pandemic and the rules of not being able to go in and out of Hawaii. I was stuck in Hawaii.
Wow. Oh, poor you.
That's where it started from. It started from me in the lockdown inventing, and then using it as therapy, then putting it there. And I didn't pick it up till last year.
Wow, that's amazing. So now let's talk about your children's books because like you said, if you are that, if you have that wide range of talent, I'm going to say it's a talent thing. Um, what is the mindset behind the children's book?
The children's book is because right now we're in a world of AI and technology, and everything has to do with modern day, right? Conveniences. So it's about navigation, maneuvering, um, being surprised at things that you could do and challenge yourself because you're put, oh, I'm so sorry, put into that situation where, I never did stick a hook, a fishing hook, even though I'm from Hawaii, into a little minnow and toss it in a lake with a bunch of friends. And it was like a stand by me. If you can imagine that type of curiosity. And we had bikes, and I learned how to ride a bike there. And it was just a time in my life where my grandfather died, and my grandmother was dying. And I wrote about my grandmother, one of my children's books. And one of my sisters believed, she was in college, full scholarship in the middle of nowhere, Ashland, Wisconsin, on Lake Superior. And she believed that exposing me to the continental US with different children and different cultures would raise my IQ. And it did. And we navigated everywhere without any cell phones. And so the book is based on growing up in the 70s and 80s. And the most you're going to get is a record player. And I cover little things that come to be in my life later, but I also cover things. I'm going to be covering a character in the book that does pass away, like how they found the body in Stand By Me. But this is a real life friend that to this day was my best, like, yeah. So she's a character in the book. I don't want to give away too much. And so I'll cover things like that even though that may be a dark thing to cover, it's going to have a light side to it where, the awareness and what you see in friends, and to cherish the moment. So there's going to be a message behind, there's always a message behind all the drama. And then I toss in a little, fiction, but it's based on real stories and real life occurrences. And it's the same character before she went through a time in her life and became a dark person.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm so excited to get to know these characters because I've been, you know, friends with you and we seem to be going in that direction where,
Aligned.
just yeah, we just align. You're right.
Totally.
And so now for your next book, the ones that you're working on right now, did you find it hard to did you have to separate or did you just
Yes,
find
that's so weird that you asked that question. And I was asked that question on another interview by a CNTV journalist. And he said, wow, you wrote in the third person a lot and you flip. And I said, I did. And that's funny you noticed it. And he said, and you did that because of the trauma, I bet. And I said, I did do that because of the trauma. So it's easier to write about a stranger. And that's why when I started doing research, this is all stuff that was out on, I didn't even know about Chat GPT then. And I asked Google, and Google indicated that there are writers who write better when it's someone like another person versus themselves, because then it's just bringing up all of that. And that is how I wrote. And so it had to be corrected because there was too much flipping back and forth between the first and the third person.
okay.
It
And
did.
did you find that when you started writing in the third person that it was easier for you to write overall because you can just basically make the story go wherever you want it to go?
And it's so weird that the memories came flooding back on all the things as I took myself. There were items within events within the timeline that I purposely forgot because of trauma and other things. And it all came back as I was writing the book. It was crazy how I knew the sequence of this happened and this happened and that, and all of that. And then having it come to points within the book of like the sudden real, the epiphany, you think she's going to get it and change, but then it doesn't happen. So it's an 11-year escapade, truly, even though I touch upon my ancestors. And the reason why I set that up is because I'm going to write backwards too. So there's actually going to be 4 in that adult series because I'm going to cover all my ancestors, my mom and crazy stuff that went on that people now they talk about it, right? But back then it was all hush hush of the things that we don't speak of those things, right? So I'm going to uncover that, and I'm going to bring up the Hawaiian legends I was exposed to and what I witnessed and saw. So there's all these legends in Hawaii that people think are just tales, but there's been so many accounts of them, and it's a very spiritual place that you just don't knock it, right? And I witnessed a couple of things when I lived in a sacred Hawaiian village. So I'm going to touch on all those kinds of things in that prequel book. But
Wow.
I'm not ready to do it yet because she's still alive and everything, and it's not the time to write it. So I'm putting everything in the memory bank, and I haven't been able to record her to tell me some of these stories because they just happen. You don't always have a camera.
Right.
So my mother had to shove someone's guts into someone's body when she was 8 years old to help her father with something. And I'm going to cover that. And that's going to be the start of the story. And then I'm going to work it back. I just gave you a sneak peek at the prequel, but
Ooh. Yeah. And
crazy.
are you getting a lot of feedback from these books? Are you getting
I've
positive
actually
feedback
had
or
I have feedback, and I've had other authors recently reach out to me, which means other authors are starting to see my books in clubs because I'm on a marketing campaign. And so of course I hired a company, and that sector is being handled where they have their own little strategy that they're working on. And part of it is exposing me to all these book clubs with all these other famous authors. And I've had two of them reach out that have written a lot of books, and they're so impressed with my work. They're like, this is such good work. And it's almost, you're an unknown. Why are you an unknown? Like, let's get together and connect. And so right now I'm at that point where I've been very busy and blessed with all the pot. Thank you so much for having me on yours. But I've been on a lot of interviews, podcasts. I'm going to be on magazine covers one of them's coming out this week. I just can't even believe what's going on based on a year ago where I was. I just amaze myself sometimes just how much I challenge myself with quantum.
no, that's great, but and regarding that, let's talk about that because I know you and I are both in the same program together, the mindset program that we're in. And that's what this podcast is all about is the mindset. And we're both studying with Brian Proctor, and we study the Bob Proctor information as well. And so what would you say, what would probably be your main thing that you've learned in your mindset studies that is resonating with you so much that it's just coming to you like you said.
You have to follow all the laws of the universe. It's exactly what they all say, right? Like how we have founding fathers, we have our founding mentors, and it's Bob Proctor, numero uno for me. He may not be for everyone, but most definitely me and many, many others, right? Because of the way he broke it down in layman's terms. So when you have ADHD and you have that, no matter how much you tell yourself, you have to have someone who resonates and can deliver the message where it sticks. Okay. And it stuck with me, and it has for a decade now. I've been studying Bob over a decade. July made 10 years. And Mary Morrissey, I studied for a while. And the same thing, laws of the universe. You have to work with the laws of the universe, or else the energy, the frequencies, all the vibes, it isn't going to come to you in the way that you want it to, in the way that you deserve it. Right. And so no matter how much I feel like giving up sometimes where the terror barrier comes in, and I feel like I'm dragging it up the hill, I would say that sums up all of it, because you can talk about the law of attraction, the law of, polarity, and you have to follow all the laws. You have to believe in them, and you have to stick with the study. I heard that in Phil's to come out of his mouth yesterday on an LA Tribune. We were all on an interview with him in April, and it was live again because it's film week for them. And I heard what he said, and I picked up on something I didn't even remember hearing in the interview at the time that I heard yesterday. And that's what mindset's all about, is it plays a massive role. I wouldn't have done any of this if I never met Bob Proctor. No way. Mm-mm. Nope. 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 I don't think so.
So when people ask if personal development and mindset work really works, I would say, I say, for the differences in my life, this podcast being one of them, I never a million years expected to be podcasting, but I would say it does work.
It
And
it works because I'm talking to you. You would have never wanted to speak if you looked at me, okay? Let's say you looked, or you were some HR recruiter and it was decades ago, and you looked at, where I was then, we wouldn't even be aligned. We wouldn't even think that we would be aligned, right? But you see how much it can change everything. For anything is possible. That's on the back of the t-shirt in small print. Everyone always asks, what's that on it? And they have to come look at it close. It's because it says anything's possible. And it is, right? So,
it is.
yeah.
So it's completely changed your life. It's led you to be an author. And do you find that you weave kind of some lessons or some mindset lessons throughout your books at all?
I wove Bob in. Matter of fact, there is a chapter dedicated to Bob. I have the book. It's over there, and it's basically, I know what it is. It's a weekend with Bob Proctor.
Oh,
And
wow.
I did write about it, and I let PGI know because they were the ones that, last where he was last with, obviously that partnership. But he's a public figure, and he changed my life, and there's nothing wrong. And I wasn't going to rename him as a fake name, and I used his real name in my book, and I let them know. I'm just letting you know that I wrote about Bob because he changed my life, and I'm a student of yours. I mean, I was of theirs, and they had no problem with it. I mean, why not, right? I mean, he changed my life. And I wrote about, I mentioned Peggy in there too, just because it's dedicating the change, right? And real life mentors and references that people can go to, right? And know that, like with Brian, his son, such a good program.
Oh,
I I'm hooked, right?
yeah.
I was contemplating because I was watching him for a while, and I thought, gosh, he's different from Bob. You're not the same, but wow, it's the other side of Bob that you're learning, and the life, and what a product of Bob is, because that's the product of Bob, right? He raised Brian, and that's Bob, right? What happens when you have parents that contribute, or that energy, you're around all that, right? Like he says, a charmed life, but he didn't avoid heartbreak or negativity. He still had to encounter that, right? So that's it. It's just an interesting take on learning the same material, but in a whole new way and modernized. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I have to agree with you 100%. There's so many times when we're in these programs and I listen to Brian talk or his wife, Corey, and I listen to them talk and I think, wow, if I would have only had that opportunity of having a father like Bob Proctor, growing up, how my life would be so different. But, like you always say, it is what it is.
And it's
And
your path is meant to be. I don't regret anything that has happened, even the bad things, because it made me who I am today. I'm
yeah,
I'm proud of who I am today. I really am. And I know I'm a little, not, I'm not going to use it, whether it is a negative word. I'm learning the reframing from the first principles. It's me. It's my colorful Kim that I am. And it makes who I am, my personality. And in Hollywood, Norman Grader, another author who attended that Hollywood thing, said, uh, be your authentic self. That's why you're not comfortable pitching, because you're trying to be this author person that's proper. And he said, who gives a crap? All the things you did, you're cool, like go in. And that's what I did, and I felt so much better. It was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, right? Because everyone, back in the day, you have this belief that the author is this prim and proper, what, and not anymore. Everyone's writing books now, and you have all kinds of material out there, and I love it because it's freedom of speech, right?
yeah, yeah,
Steph.
for sure. You don't have somebody hammering over you saying you can't write this, you can't write that. So,
And
is
I'm
it
a
a
second.
lot?
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Is it difficult, like to kind of weave through all of that, Kim, like when you're writing And now you're going to be a publisher. Like, that's amazing. So to go from a writer right through to publisher, that's just incredible.
I mean, I had to learn the hard way. It's not an easy world, you know this, right? Doing the self-help thing, but hiring professionals these days also, it's good for some parts of your journey as an author, but it's also good to experience what it's like to go through it. I'm a second gen author. So my father wrote books, published books, and was a very good friend of John McCain's. And he wrote racy material later in his life. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he wrote two books, that The Sharp Seasoning of Truth, and he exposed non-class declassified events that people don't know they're declassified, but he does cover a few racy comments about September 11th, because he was also a demolitions expert in Vietnam. The government ordered him to kill, I can say this because he's gone now, but he said it before he died. The government ordered him to kill 7 million women and children. Our US government. Sad. It's war. It's terrible, right? So he wrote about racy subjects, and I find it comical that I did not grow up with him my entire life, and I ended up being an author. What do you think about that?
So some of it is genetic. I think some of it is karma because many years, well, maybe past life, but anyway, many years ago, I went to a couple of people who read past lives,
Oh,
and I
oh,
was told that many years ago, many lives ago, I've written books. I wish now I knew what books they were so that I could go back and like see. Do you know what I mean? They just said I wrote books. They didn't tell me which ones, but
was this, if you don't mind me asking, was this Native American or Japanese or Buddhist type? Who was this?
oh, the person as far as who did my past life reading. Um, no, just I don't know what her background is. I'm trying to think.
Interesting.
Um, but apparently I grew up in England. So anybody listening in the UK, I just don't know what my name was. So yeah, it's interesting, right?
Tea?
Pardon?
You like tea?
Do I like tea?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love tea, especially green tea.
I love tea, and I like to drink it like I'm from England with the
Uh,
teacup. I have them downstairs, and we're gonna add those in our new studio that I created downstairs. I'm gonna have it's as a prop, but we are gonna drink tea on my show. Like it's
nice.
gonna be a podcast. It's gonna be us interviewing and taping things that like the reels. And I'm gonna send you a video later, and we can. I don't want to take up more than what you had planned for, but it's 3/4 of the way there. I spent hours down there last night. Like it's amazing what you can do with a dead corner in your home. I turn it into a money-making machine, honey.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the projects that we're working on right now. You know, Kim has her own special project, but and I'll announce it now because I have to start talking about it. I am in the
I did.
process of creating the Mindset Playground app. And I'm so excited about it. It's a lot of work. I'm hoping that it'll be out. No, I'm not going to say hoping. It will be out
Right. It's
in
out.
in mid-September. It'll be ready to download in mid-September. But when I'm
Oh, that is
so
very ambitious. This September?
yes,
Wow. I'm so
I know.
please talk about just tell because I get so I really love vision boards. I'm obsessed. Okay. And like I know you're the expert, and I just want you to cover lightly because I'm gonna post this, and I know this is the answer for some people who struggle like me where they don't understand, like that's why college lectures, all those kinds of things. But if you visually see it and what they teach us in mindset, but you do it old school way, I know this is I have to have this at my academy. I have to. But
Which
can you
we're going to talk about in 1 second. But I just want to tell everybody that I am so blessed that Kim has offered to come on board as a founding member of the Mindset Playground Adventure, which is the name of my new app. and I know that she is going to give me some great insights on creating this app. I'm just stoked. So, and very honored, and
Oh,
I am full of gratitude. So, yes, you and Kizzy. And I know that you guys are going to be doing a lot of the media for me as far as, like yeah, it's so exciting. And like you said, it's sometimes it takes your breath away. You can't even believe that it's happening. So you're right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
A year ago today, I didn't think that I would be sitting here and where we're at now and talking to you about how we're gonna because in the entertainment industry, as you know, it's called blue skying it when you think of creative ideas. Phil, this came from the producer Phil Goldfine. He said he stopped on the golf cart and he looked at me in Universal Studios and he said, I have to tell you this. I said, what? And he said, I think you're one of the smartest people I've ever known in my life. I said, get out of here. And he said, you're smart in ways where even Peggy calls me the walking Siri because she'll ask and I'll just because I've traveled ever since I was little, right? And travel raises your IQ, but also I've met so many people from around the world, very culturally rich, right? And food and everything. And Phil was just baffled and said, you gave me a treasure trove chest, just a treasure chest of ideas. All he did was this while I talked all day long, all week long. And
Writing
his
it down. Yeah.
I gave him so many ideas to do series, an episode of a series, blockbuster movies, bringing back other. I don't want to disclose what one of them was because he couldn't believe I remembered this show. And he said, "Did you grow up in the 70s?" And I said, "Yes." And he was like, I can't believe you even saw this thing. And I said, I got babysat by a sister who was 10 years older, and she was addicted to horror and weird films like that. And she would subject me to watching those. And I would literally close my eyes like this and be like, I don't want to watch this. Like, this is freaking me out. But it shapes who you are. And he was amazed that I had all that. So to hear that from a Hollywood producer, I was impressed with myself. But he told me, I got to give you advice. And one of them was, infinite patience delivers immediate results. And you must learn that. You do not have that. You don't
Oh,
have it. I said, I know you don't. And he said, I know you don't. That's why you have to have it if you're going where you're going. You
wow.
must know this and have it be a part of you. And right now, that's you have to do that. Must do it. And I was like, okay. And I was so perplexed by that statement. And I just kept saying it over and over. And I totally get what he means now.
Yeah.
Right.
Patience is a virtue, as they say. And it's true.
Yes, it is.
So before we go, I want to talk to you. I know that you have a project. I'm going to call it a project that's really near and dear to your heart. And it's actually near and dear to my heart as well. So because I have offered to be involved, and I know that as soon as people find out about this project, they're going to want to be involved. So
We
can
are.
you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. My team and I founded the Aloha Jigsaw Foundation, and the Aloha Jigsaw Foundation.org is where you can see all of the information. We're very live and active on socials, including YouTube. And I have a great virtual assistant whom I've never met in person, but on camera, Mira, who has been doing her absolute best with editing videos that are on all of our channels to bring awareness to this lovely cause. And I'm not saying it to toot my own horn and say all of this, but remember the fires in 2023 that happened in Maui and burned up all of Lahaina and parts of Kula? Well, it's a very dry island and they are low on water. And I don't want to point the finger at how, and it's not about that. It's about the keiki. Okay, so in Hawaii, children are called keiki. A keiki, and it could also be plural as being children. So they say a lot of what they say, children of the land, is called keiki. If you hear keiki oka'aina, we must take care of our keiki oka'aina because they're our future. And that's exactly what they are and who they are. And as you know, in public schools and in private schools, they no longer offer, it's very rare, the following courses that used to be mainstream in our day. Okay. And I'm not dating ourselves or saying that we're old. We were very fortunate to be offered classes with culinary, basic cooking, you know, doing your basic needs, home economics, sewing and things like that, and wood shop, which was carpentry, automotive, welding, all those kinds of things, right? They ripped it all out of school, and we barely even have the arts in there now, okay? And it's become a very stagnant place where children are not thriving anymore because they need to use all the parts of their brain, as we also learn in our mindset, right? And so what we have done and created, and this is all so far self-funded, and it can actually be addicting because I'm just fundraising it and sending out, joining clubs, doing all these things, okay? But so far it's been me for the past couple of years. And we started this mindset and trade academy. It's also, we decided to incorporate other areas of business as well for these children who will not see themselves as being laborers in the construction field, but maybe they want to be a project manager and someone in an office, and estimator. And I will be teaching all of those classes because I was a general manager of an environmental hazmat construction company for 17 years. Okay. Most successful one in Hawaii. And it's closed since. And so I'm incorporating those types of classes and other elements of my career, as well as construction and the mindset. So the mindset is everything. And at first, that's what that spawned the idea, was we were only going to do mindset, okay? Because that was the easiest one that we could do without having to have, you know, enlist other people. Well, we have had volunteer instructors where I have a waiting list now, okay? And you're on one, you're going to do the vision board that we just talked about with you're going to incorporate, because it is the way I've always been taught with vision boards that resonate and stick, and it's not an electronic version. Not that we're not into that, okay? But we are advertising right now, and there hasn't been, it makes me sad, but I have to keep going. It makes me sad in a way where I'm not like feeling sorry for myself. It makes me sad that we are at right now in this time and date where no one's interested in submitting, okay? Because the requirements are this: submit for a fully sponsored tuition to one of our sessions, to our spring session coming up in 2026, which should be in May. You must submit a 7-line poem and a 250 word, and not or. It's 7-page, 7-line poem, 250 word essay on how the fires impacted you as a
Oh,
person and in your family's life. Okay, in your own words. You must not use Chat GPT. We don't want to see Chat GPT material. We want to see misspelled words. We want to see raw material that's being submitted to us in digitally, obviously. And we're gonna read all the stories. And Peggy McCall and Kayla, her daughter-in-law, who is a children's author, they both they're gonna judge, because I don't want to, even though I'm a writer, I'm not going to judge my own. I'm on top of everything, right? So I'm the orchestra. I'm orchestrating everything, and so they're willing to come, and so has Brian and Kelly, right? They're willing to come, and you said the same thing. So what am I up to right now? I am everything in the organization, because everyone else, even on the board, is just, they're busy with their lives. And so I'm the acquisitions director. I'm performing duties of that, even though that's not my title. I'm performing duties of founder, hustler, and everything else, right? Fundraiser. And so it's exciting. And we are going to hold events and other things. And even if I only have 2 children, I'm going to run the class. I'm going to run the
oh yeah.
and I'm going to do it, because we have all the trade people lined up. My partner, James, the business partner, is going to be in charge of running the whole construction side. And right now they're struggling. They can't, I don't know if you know this, but not very many homes and structures have been built since the fires, even though you see all the, oh, they got this $4 billion set. No, they did not. And there are tons of families who are immigrants from the Philippines and Japan and everywhere else who have been there for hundreds of years, generations of families, and they're living in tents on their property. Because why? Because they didn't have insurance, and their house went up, their cash in their mattress burned, and they are where they're at, and they're living on their land in tents or tiny houses. So roof trusses and Douglas fir wood, and I'm going to announce it now, there's a shortage, and Maui needs wood, whether it comes from other countries. They need lumber to build trusses. And we're going to teach our students, as the first order of business, after tool identification and seeing where everyone's at, we're going to teach the youth how to build trusses from design so that these people can build their own house and take the skills home to their family and get certificates of completion and use it towards high school electives. So we're involving the government. I've already been involved with the mayor's office on Maui for the county of Maui, as well as the governor of the state of Hawaii. And I'm going to keep going. But because it's just me doing all of these trailblazing activities, I have to take breaks, and I'll never be able to write and do all of my other things. So I'm finding the balance. But
Well,
that's my
that's wonderful.
Jigsaw.
That's so wonderful, and I know that there's a lot of mindset involved, and that you got to take care of you. So that's really
Well, people
important.
can buy it. Like people's grandchildren can come and they can buy into the program so that we can fully sponsor the kids. You don't have to be, I want to make it clear. It's not just for the impacted youth of Maui, because if we could sponsor and bring in 50 kids and I had the money to, then we would, right? That's the goal. So for right now, we are involving and inviting other children from other countries, other states, because we believe Hawaii's a melting pot and it's going to only help our children's IQ. We're also offering, if kids want to have it, and I don't mean to be morbid as the final message, but if someone is dying of cancer and they're in stage 4 and they're a child and they want to just be treated as a child for a week and do vision boards with you and hear from Brian and Corey and hear from James and I and do a song contest instead of going to Disneyland, we're going to welcome that leukemia person. And you know why? Because they're a regular person too. And so I've
Yeah,
other nonprofits like Make-A-Wish, and I'm going to send a letter to St. Jude's. I haven't done it yet, but a letter of intent and what we'd like to do, because I believe that that might go a longer way. And what if it could help save their life, right? You cured yourself from something. Peggy McCall cured herself from cancer. I mean, can it happen? Do you have a magic wand? Do we have the magic wand? No, but where does it start, right? So what if
cool.
we click somewhere and it could save lives like that too? So the cat
Absolutely.
open to everyone who wants to come, but you'll get fully sponsored if you're from Maui and you submit the poem and the essay, because we're going to pick 2 kids and fully sponsor them. So
That's wonderful. That is so wonderful. So I'll make sure to leave all of the information in the description below so that people can, definitely sign up for this contest, and it's just a wonderful thing. So I appreciate the fact that you've taken your time out of your busy schedule to come and play with me on the Mindset Playground. I know how busy you are, but there's one more thing that I have to ask of you. I always ask my guests on every show for 3 golden nuggets to leave the audience with. So, Kim, do you have 3 golden nuggets that you'd like to leave us with?
I would love, I don't, yes, absolutely. I do. I do. Um,
Okay.
use the motto, anything's possible. Anything is possible. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're on the spectrum or you're like ADHD like me, you can be anything you want to be, anything you want, right? And the second thing is leads me to the segue to the next question that changed my life from Bob is, what is it that you really want? What are you doing in your life right now as a person, in your family, in your place of business or work, as a pet owner or as a friend? Who are you and what are you doing? Are you happy with where you're at? Are you truly happy in all facets of your life? Or are you just happy here and you're just going to deal with it? Because that is the numero uno question that is life changing, right? Because if someone sits back and asks themselves, what is it that I really want? Do I really want to do this till I die? Or do I really want to do this till the next chapter? So I believe that asking yourself that question, not only once, but throughout your life and your career, both professionally and personally, is key, because you have to check yourself, right? Before you wreck yourself. Not to be cliche, but it's true, right? Before you wreck yourself. And the third thing is, no matter what anyone says as far as naysayers go, and I do have a crowd of I look who I was before, right? So I have some individuals who follow me on social media, and I let them, I don't block them, but they're brewing the haterade, right? They're like the witches brewing the cauldron with the haterade, like, from school, thinking, oh, she was a drug addict. Oh, she never showed up for school. And now she's like, oh, she's this author now, and she's trying to get in the movies and blah, 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 and this and that. But at the end of the day, it does not matter what people say, whether they're in your family or within your circle. They shouldn't be in your inner circle if they're doing that, because those are not inner circle worthy people, right? So do not be afraid to cleanse and cut out individuals who are not part of the dream, who are not aligned with your vision, and who do not make you feel important and good, like the way you and I feel right now. I have, right, it doesn't match. It's like Sesame Street. Which one of these things just doesn't belong here? That little song they had. And if you take that one thing out, if there's just that one lingering thing, that's all the universe is waiting for to do, to take you on where you want to go, right? So don't be afraid to cut out those things, people, whatever that negative energy is. As Bob says, let's say people are here and there's this negative stuff. Oh, he says, I'm hightailing it out of that corner, and I'm not going to mingle with them in a party. I'm going to go where the, vibrant people are. And he said that in his seminar, and I'll always remember that. And I thought, oh my gosh, what if it's your own family? And then his next line was, if it's your own. So that's the 3 right there. I hope that those were considered as nuggets. I know I follow those principles and it works for me. Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, that is perfect. Perfect nuggets. And I know that somebody out there is going to get something out of the Mindset Playground. So don't you worry. They're going to love our interview. And please make sure that you comment on our interview, because we will definitely respond and we would love to hear your comments. So, on that note, thanks so much, Kim. I look forward to the next time that we're on the Mindset Playground together. And I look
Yes.
forward to working with you very
Absolutely.
closely. So,
Or I'll leave this out there so we can hit it with the universe with all the good vibes. What if you're going to come across, not if, when you come across the river, you said you're across the river, right? In Detroit, and come to see, and we all go to dinner and we watch the Broadway musical of The Wise Marie, and we're all part of it and we're celebrating. I can just see it now,
oh, me too. I can't wait. I've already got a dress.
with your app, because that's going to be the powerful tool, right? I mean, all the students might be downloading it during the class next spring.
For sure. Right after we do those vision boards.
Go to the beach. We'll go to the beach on Friday Fun Day. That's what it's all
Oh,
about. Friday Fun
sounds
Day,
good.
dinner and awards recognition night, where we actually are going to have awards. And I hope that it'll be set up the way that I envision it, where we get all the kids dressed up, all of us dressed up like it's the Academy Awards.
Absolutely. We'll have the stanchions or whatever they're called, the yes,
Yeah.
and the red carpet.
Red has to be red. We got to
Of
roll out red.
course. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kim.
Hello. Have a good day.
Mahalo.